Medieval France was a dark and dangerous place. Any small argument carried the risk of bloody violence. Women were abused, whole families wiped out of the gene pool for simply uttering the wrong word. It was a place where only the most brutal thrived. Many noble women, if thought to be a bit of a nuisance, would be offloaded into nunneries. Princess Basina, daughter to King Chilperic of Neustria, was one such woman. She had a tragic upbringing shrouded in misery and abuse. She was raped by soldiers, had her lands taken away from her, and after the assassination attempt on her family, she was sent to live the rest of her days in Poitiers as a nun. Basina was not alone. Her cousin, Princess Clotilde, bastard daughter to King Charibert of the Merovingian dynasty, and his concubine, was also sent to the same nunnery. Both women had plenty of cause for anger, and the resentment they held would simmer below the surface until it came to a boil in the year 589. After years of praying and obeying, both women declared that they could no longer put up with the treatment they were receiving from their abbess Lobovera. She wasn't showing these two princesses the royal respect that was their birthright. She was treating them like common nuns. The women, understandably cross, rallied 40 fellow nuns to join them in a miniature rebellion, and they marched out of the convent, refusing to return until their tyrannical abbess was expelled. The nuns appealed to several bishops, who in turn refused to do anything on the matter. But luckily, the women's royal ties kicked in. Clotilde's uncle promised to ensure a commission would be sent to Poitiers to look into the matter. But this wasn't good enough for the naughty nuns. They returned to Poitiers and sought sanctuary at the Church of St. Hilary, and kept themselves busy by recruiting a small army of local cutthroats and outlaws. Finally, the commission consisting of 4 bishops, deacons and clerics arrived, but instead of a church, they found a fortress, manned by the angry nuns and their outlaw outfit. The commission, obviously outraged, and most likely extremely confused by the situation, approached the church ready to excommunicate the rebellious nuns, but they quickly found themselves under attack, and the whole party staggered away in retreat from the church, covered in blood and bruises. One would assume that after turning a church into an army base, assaulting a group of bishops, and nearly getting excommunicated, these nefarious nuns would think about doing a touch of repenting. But no, they doubled down and struck again. The merry gang of nuns began to seize all of the convent's lands and beat up any foolish enough to resist. The only relief from this madness was when winter struck, and the nuns decided it was best to retreat to the warm fires and toastiness of indoors. But by the Easter of 590, they orchestrated their masterpiece and attacked the convent itself. Abbess Lobovera, crippled by gout, took shelter in the oratory, clutching the relic of the Holy Cross for safety. The outlaw party, under nightfall, broke into the oratory, but before the abbess could be hacked to death, one man spoke up. It seems there was still some religion left in this party of heathens, as one of the outlaws pointed out that it probably wasn't the best idea to murder an abbess right in front of the holy relic of the true cross. Confusion ensued, and in the madness a provost called Justina was seized instead of the abbess, in a classic case of identity theft. Justina was promptly carried off into the night. Soon it became clear, probably in the light of the sun, that Justina was not in fact the gout-ridden abbess, and thankfully she was safely returned to the convent and swapped with the actual abbess. Abbess Lobovera was held prisoner in Basina's chamber near St. Hilary, while the sack of the convent continued. This madness had gone on for far too long, and the local bishop, Marovius, stepped in. He ordered the townspeople to break into the house and release the abbess. Surprisingly, they were successful, managing to rescue the poor soul. But as one can imagine, the only thing that followed this was more violence. Basina and Clotilde's gang went on a rampage, slaughtering men in even the holiest of places. Basina, by this time, had had just about enough of pillaging and murdering and broke from the pack to make peace with the abbess. This, of course, rather upset her cousin Clotilde, who was continuing to wreak havoc around Poitiers. According to a local chronicler of the time, not a week went by without a new murder. Finally, someone with a smidgen of power got involved. Count Mako, leading a band of the king's men, leaped into action. They slaughtered many of the mercenaries hired by the nuns and sent the rest fleeing into the forest. The rebellion was at an end. It was now time for the princesses to face their grave punishment. Surely God would strike them down, or the church would execute them for the havoc they caused. Well, no, the princesses were excommunicated. This excommunication only lasted a few months, until King Childebert II restored them to grace. I'm sure you are now left wondering what Basina and Clotilde spent the rest of their lives doing. Well, Clotilde, despite her illegitimacy, was granted lands which she ruled until her death, and Basina actually returned to Poitiers to become a nun and live the rest of her life in quiet obedience. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more interesting tales from history. Goodbye.